Hey guys, so I'm going to do a review on Spectacular Spider-Man Season 1, the collector set. Here's the front cover, and here's the back cover of the box set, or DVD case. You have the original Spider-Man villains right here, classic ones, and the DVD comes in 2 discs. Disc 1 holds 9 episodes, and Disc 2 holds 4 episodes. Now, I'll get to a reason why Disc 2 has only 4 episodes. So yeah, on to the review. So, Spectacular Spider-Man is a series that only lasted for 2 seasons, each season only having 13 episodes, so in total, only 26 episodes. Now, the series was originally supposed to have more than 26 episodes, maybe around 54, I think, about 54 episodes. And they were going to introduce more villains besides the Lizard and Venom and the original characters that are shown in the show itself right now. They're going to introduce Hobgoblin and Scorpion in Season 3, but then they canceled, of course, so they canceled the show, and Spectacular Spider-Man is no longer running. And a new animated series for Spider-Man is coming out called Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man actually is, canny to the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. Now, the character who plays, Spider-Man in Ultimate Spider-Man, the voice actor for Spider-Man Peter Parker in that series is Drake Bell, which I find kind of oddly. I can't really imagine it until I watch the show. But, yeah, so enough about talking about the new animated series. Talking about Spectacular Spider-Man. Now, I have to tell you, Spectacular Spider-Man, awesome animated Spider-Man series show. It is great. Everything about it is, just awesome. From the character design to the story itself to all these episodes. Now, each episode contains one villain, and basically, this is Season 1, so each villain does not just come in as the villain, like, just, okay, Peter's Spider-Man, you have to defeat the Lizard, he's attacking, the subway system or whatnot, he's trying to create an army of crocodiles. No, they don't do that. The villains are all introduced in one episode, and they all have a backstory of how they became the villains. Which is really, really good for, introducing everybody to the villains. Now, you don't get to introduce Peter as Spider-Man. First episode, Peter Parker is Spider-Man already. They do not show you he got bit by a spider. They show you in the opening that he, did get bit by the spider and whatnot. But, yeah, it does not show how he becomes Spider-Man. He's already Spider-Man already. And it doesn't show that he was working for to the Daily Bugle yet, until a couple of episodes later on when he does work for the Daily Bugle to get money to help pay the rent and bills for his Aunt May. Now, also, what I have to like about it is because in the first season it introduces a lot of Peter's problems, just like in the comics when he was bullied, when he has issues with Aunt May, paying for bills, coming home on time, and, taking bullcrap from Jameson and the Daily Bugle, and also having, love issues and stuff like that. But the love issues sort of take more on a toll in Season 2. The love issues come, in Season 2, but Season 1 did a great job on Peter's issues in his personal life. With having him, choosing whether or not to be continuing being Spider-Man. Actually, it does actually show in the first episode, was it the first episode? Because I remember, I think it's the first episode. Because Dr. Connors makes a serum to actually turn him back from the Lizard and become a human being again, and Spider-Man takes it. And Peter decides, maybe the world doesn't need Spider-Man. And that was really great how they have to actually choose him to make him see if he wants to be Spider-Man or not anymore. But of course, he does choose back to be Spider-Man. Now, the classic villains that come up in the series, Green Goblin, Venom, Sandman, Rhino, Octopus, Shocker, Electro, Vulture. That's basically all the ones that actually come up in the series, in Season 1. Season 2, they introduce Mysterio and some other characters, but not a whole lot, in Season 2. Season 2 was basically they're trying to wrap everything up because Season 2 was going to be the end of Spectacular Spider-Man. Which, like, Season 2, I didn't kind of like. I mean, I liked the series, but Season 2 was a bit, sad because it was going to end. And it was actually left off at a cliffhanger. What else is there to talk about? So getting into the 9 episodes on one disc and 4 episodes on the second disc. Now, each, series I've got so far from, Batman the Brave and the Bold, they have 6 episodes on one disc and 7 episodes on the other disc. Basically a 13 episode for one season part. Okay, but then this is one whole season which has 13 episodes. So why does one disc have all 9 episodes and why does one disc has all 4 episodes? It's unbalanced, it's uneven. Now, I have a reason why that happens. Now, in the 9 episodes in one disc, it introduces all the original villains, Dr. Octopus and, everything like that. Now, strictly, this too, I think, is only based for the Black Suit Spider-Man and Venom. Venom actually comes in the last episode on disc 4. Not disc 4, but disc 2. He comes in the last episode, so he comes into episode 13. That's when Venom pops up. But on the other episodes, like episode 11, 12, and 13, it's all strictly Black Suit Spider-Man. And everything else is related to... I forgot one more villain. Chameleon. He pops up in the show. I forgot about that. He pops up in the second disc. And what's great is that I think this 2 is based for only the Black Suit arc and Venom arc. So, which is great. I like that because when I saw the 4 episodes, they were really amazing. And the 3 episodes that introduced Black Suit Spider-Man, which I prefer was the most epic 3 episodes I've ever seen because I love Black Suit Spider-Man. But what's interesting is the black suit itself, when he gets it, it looks like the Spider-Man 3's costume. It has the webbing still on it. It was just black and just has the webbing. So basically it's just his original costume, but just black and still has all its webbing and whatnot. And the spider is small in the center, and white. And in the back, he doesn't have the whole big spider crawling around that wraps around his whole body. But it's more of the just basic small little round spider on his back. But then in episode 2, you see the spider starts stretching out a little bit more, but still holds the Spider-Man 3 costume look, which it's okay. I kind of like it. Or was it? Because I can't remember if it still had a lining or not. But or it could just be full black and just the spider is still a little bit stretching, which is not fully yet. But in the 13th episode, you finally see his original black suit come on with the big white eyes and the black mask, and just everything's full black, no webbing sticking out. The white spider mark is wrapped around his whole, from his chest all the way to his back, so it just stretches out, which is really, really good. I really liked it. Now, it doesn't wrap around his shoulder, but it wraps around, up to his shoulder blade and stuff like that. But it's great. It was good. It was great to see him transform, because in in the 13th episode is the episode where he takes off the suit, but also realizes it's a bad thing that's latched onto him and it's changing him, which is a good thing. Because when he has the black suit on, of course, it takes over his emotions, his hatred, and he builds it up. And it's a great way how they portray that in the whole series. Now, speaking besides of the episodes that I like, those are the episodes that stand out in this too. I have to talk about the voice acting. The voice acting is spot on. John Jameson, great voice acting. Everybody who was in the series did a great job voice acting every character. But one has to stick out, of course. And you all know, person who does the voice for Spider-Man and Peter Parker, his voice sticks out the most. Now, the voice actor Josh Keaton, who does the voice acting for Spider-Man and Peter Parker in Spectacular Spider-Man, he also does the voice acting for Amazing and Ultimate Spider-Man in the game Shattered Dimensions. And also, he's going to do the same amazing Spider-Man voice acting for the Spider-Man Edge of Time game, which should be currently coming out. Which is great. His voice acting is so spot on. He is funny. His voice is really sarcastic. And Spider-Man is a sarcastic type of guy. He's always making puns for his villains. Every single time he's fighting a villain, he's always making a pun, which is really, really funny. Because, nobody can do it as best as, Josh Keaton could, for me. That's why I kind of felt like when Drake Bell was doing Ultimate Spider-Man's voice, I felt like, why not put Josh Keaton back? He's a good voice actor. He is funny. And, Drake Bell, yeah, he is a funny guy, but I don't see his voice as Spider-Man. But that's my opinion. I haven't watched an episode yet, so I can't say much. I just have to say that I just can't see it as his voice. Maybe it'll latch on once I watch a couple episodes. But, needless to say, Spectacular Spider-Man is a great series. So sad that it ended in Season 2. And, it incorporated a lot from the original comics, like, when Spider-Man first meets Mary Jane. Also, in the animated series in the 90s, they did the same thing for that, too. Was when they both met Mary Jane in both the 90s and Spectacular Spider-Man. Peter met Mary Jane in both animated series. When he opens the door and meets Mary Jane, she says, "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." She also says that in the comics, which is great. They're incorporating the comics into the animated series, and it just keeps going on. Like, it's just never forgotten. That one scene in the comics is not going to be forgotten. It's really great. And I somehow felt like they incorporated like a bit of the Spider-Man movies into it. Not a whole lot. Like, his black suit, and maybe when he's talking to John Jameson about how Spider-Man is not like a vigilante, and in the movies he said, "You're not wearing the headlines. I'm John Jameson," and blah 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 this and blah blah that, and but it's good. And I'm sorry I didn't touch upon the other villains, but one note to have to say before I sign off is the villains have their own personalities. Dr. Octopus is smart. Rhino isn't so bright, but they all have their own personalities, which is great. They're not like just generic villains. They have their own spawn-on personalities. Some you might even like. I mean, all cartoons, they all have to have villains you love and like. Like in Young Justice, they don't have a main villain. They always see and fight. They fight a different villain each time, but Young Justice isn't going on for like, it's only like up to 12 episodes right now, and so far you only know the main villains are the people who are called the Light. But that's Young Justice. Spectacular Spider-Man, really great. Really good. Green Goblin, I said I didn't talk about Green Goblin, but they balance off the Green Goblin and who is, they keep him in suspense. Who's the Green Goblin? Norman Osborn or Harry Osborn? That kind of stuff. And it's great. You get to figure out, who is, Green Goblin, and you actually get hinted in who might be the Green Goblin. But yeah, overall, great art, great story. Wish they had more of this. I don't know if Season 2 will go on DVD. But if you guys really, really are a fan of Spider-Man, I highly recommend you guys picking this up or watching the series. If you guys ever get a chance to just pick it up, like I said, just pick up the DVD set. It's great for collectors if you guys are really into Spider-Man, because you don't really get to collect a lot of Spider-Man DVDs or anything like that. You get to collect the movies. The 90s animated series are not fully like seasoned. They're cut off by story arcs, like the Venom and the Dr. Octopus. They're not fully like a whole season thing like that, but Spectacular Spider-Man is, and it's great, good. If the volumes come out for Season 2, I'm just going to have to pick up the volumes. I can't pick up the collector's set if you don't have it, but yeah, pick it up if you guys can. Yeah, that's my review on it.